Market Watch has an article which reports on a new study that just came out. Canceling $1.4 trillion in student debt could have major benefits for the economy. You don't say. Getting rid of $1.4 trillion of unnecessary, burdensome, ridiculous debt has some upsides. Wow, isn't that something? So here's what they say. It is not uncommon to see student loan borrowers muse about what would happen if their student debt was suddenly wiped out. Whether it's an unlikely pipe dream or due to legal issues with their college, it's a life-changing fantasy. Now, we have a sense of how widespread student debt cancellation would affect even those who don't hold loans, and it appears things might actually get better for all of us. Wiping away the $1.4 trillion in outstanding loan debt for the 44 million Americans who carry it could boost GDP between $86 billion and $108 billion per year on average for the 10 years following the debt cancellation, according to a report published by the Levy Economics Institute of Bard College. Getting rid of the debt would also lower the average unemployment rate by 0.22 to 0.36 percentage points over 10 years, and could add between 1.2 million and 1.5 million jobs per year, it found. They continue. That is a dollar-for-dollar bump up in their net worth, said Stephanie Kelton, a professor of economics and public policy at Stony Brook University and one of the authors of the report. In addition to becoming wealthier, these borrowers would have more disposable income to spend on houses, cars, vacations, and other goods, which could fuel job growth. So, the summary of this report is, there are giant upsides if you do this. That's the summary of the report. And like I said, the specifics are GDP growth between $86 billion and $108 billion per year. That's a positive. Decrease in the average unemployment rate by 0.22 to 0.36%, and adding 1.2 million and 1.5 million jobs per year. And yeah, listen, if you wipe the student debt slate clean, all those people now have that extra money to spend it on other things. So they're going to pay that, light bill that they're a month and a half behind on. They're going to maybe lease a new car for their significant other. They've been working with one car, but now they have enough disposable income where they're going to lease a car. And so it has reverberating effects throughout the economy. Now, the only downside they point out when they go on in the article, and it goes on, I only read you about half of it here, but they say, oh, well, it might slightly increase the deficit. Well, we just had a Republican tax bill that passed, which adds over $1 trillion to the deficit. So, and there's, like I said, the massive other upsides here. And also, as I've pointed out repeatedly, you don't necessarily have to do that. I mean, you could reallocate funds. You could, stop giving a tremendous amount of corporate welfare to the big banks, $80 billion a year. You can stop giving $4 billion a year as a subsidy to ExxonMobil. There's a million ways that you can, if you're going to spend on wiping the debt slate clean for students, that you can make up for that in other ways where we do wasteful, inefficient, stupid, corrupt government spending. You can cut back on military spending. Clearly. I mean, we spend more than the next 9 or 10 biggest militaries in the world combined, and most of those countries are our allies. And I think the most important point here is the effects of the different kinds of spending. So, to use the military example again, when our tax money goes to prop up the military-industrial complex and give no-bid contracts to Raytheon and Boeing and Halliburton and whoever, what happens? So they build a bomb, and then that bomb is shipped on over to Syria, and then they drop the bomb in Syria, and then that's it. So the amount of money that you just paid in taxes that went to the bombs, it just blew up in Syria, and then all that wealth is gone. when you use tax money to eliminate student loan debt, like I just explained to you, it has a multiplier effect. Okay, you eliminated the student loan debt, but now the people who were paying the student loan debt, now they have more money and they can spend it in other ways in the economy. It's not like you build that bomb and then it gets dropped over Syria, but the bomb comes back to America and goes to Wendy's and gets a burger, and then goes to the car place and leases a car. No, it's just the money blows up. It's gone. There's no multiplier effect. So it's a much more inefficient way of spending money, putting aside the morality angle of it. And of course, we shouldn't put aside the morality angle of it. So this is something that would be, it's just a positive step. It'd be a great step. And you have to understand, there are many developed countries that don't even have student loan debt. Never mind a student loan debt crisis like we currently have. I mean, if you go to Slovenia, free college. There's, I think, 7 other nations, free college. And for those of you who think, well, that's too radical, I don't know why we do that here. Listen, we already have free school all the way up through high school. You know, we have public schools in America. It's paid for by your taxes. So when you go to elementary school, free. You know, kindergarten's free. I guess preschool is the one that's not totally free yet around the country, but kindergarten free. Elementary school free, middle school free, high school free. So we already have that model, and that's a wildly successful model. And listen, today, a college degree is what the equivalent of a high school degree was in 1950. So it's basically like we're just keeping it as is if we were to have free college, or keeping it like it was originally intended to be. You used to be able to graduate high school and get a pretty decent job. Now try graduating high school, not having a college degree, and getting a decent job. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard even with the college degree to get a decent job. You have to get even more schooling. So it's a matter of simple priorities and how you invest in society, and it pays dividends down the road. You should wipe the debt slate clean, do free college beyond that, and then catch us up to the rest of the world. I always find it fascinating how people on the far right like to claim America's number one at everything, and they believe in American exceptionalism. But then you bring up the fact that other countries are kicking our ass because they have free college, for example. Other countries destroy us on the issue of healthcare. We're worst in the developed world in terms of healthcare. That's how we rank, according to Commonwealth Fund, which does a study on this every other year. So you show them, hey, man, other people are kicking our ass. Our infrastructure gets a grade of D+. It's crumbling. And the reaction is not, oh, shit, well, we better fix all that stuff and make it so that we have an A+ infrastructure, we have the best healthcare system in the world, and we have free college for everybody. The response is usually, but we're still number one, though. What does that mean? What are you saying? Do you actually want to care about measuring this shit objectively and empirically? But the answer is no, they don't care about measuring it objectively and being empirical about it. It's just a feeling they have. It's sort of like a fundamentalist religion. And this is why I've often said American exceptionalism and neoconservatism, that manifests as a fundamentalist religion. That's what that is. I mean, if you say we're the best no matter what, well, that's what every single cult says in the world, and that's what every fundamentalist religion says in the world. Our actions don't matter. We are the best by definition. That's American exceptionalism. Another way of saying American exceptionalist is what? American supremacist. Exceptional is a word that can easily be replaced with supreme. I'm exceptional. I'm supreme. American exceptionalism is American supremacism. Kind of ugly when you phrase it like that, isn't it? Well, because again, we can't say at the same time, hey, we believe in equality. We believe in equality and everybody needs to understand that. And then in the next breath you say, oh, and we're exceptional. Well, then it's not equal. Which is it? Do you believe in equality or do you believe in we're exceptional, we're better? Those are fundamentally contradictory. So, and then of course, on the neoconservatism angle, the reason why that's a fundamentalist religion is because the answer is always the same. More U.S. military. We got a problem? Send the troops and bomb the shit out of people. And it doesn't matter what the issue is, send the troops. That's, Dick Cheney's response to everything. Start a war with Iraq, start a war with Iran, start a war with North Korea. Wonderful, it'd be great. Well, if you have the same cut and dried answer no matter what the question is, that's cultish, and that's like a fundamentalist religion. So anyway, I digress because we're off topic now, but canceling $1.4 trillion in student debt has massive, colossal upsides That's something that you probably always knew, but now we have data and research to back it up.